Hey boys and girls, welcome back. It's me, Keith the Misprint Guy, and welcome to week 49, in which I share with you all kinds of strange and unusual cards from a game called Magic the Gathering. Misprints, test prints, if there's something downright weird with it, I want to share it with you. So now what do I have for you this week? Well, one of the things that I'd covered in the recent past, well, more like week 11, but anyhow, one of the things that I'd covered in the past was this Mercadian Masques common, and it has a front and a back on one side, and it has a back on the other side. Now, this has happened a few times in Magic the Gathering's past, but this is something that has happened only a few times, so this is something that is exceptionally rare. And this is a disenchant, and it affects all the commons. There's all the commons from Mercadian Masques that you can find like this in English. But there is a set that has something very slightly different than the other rare sets that have that issue, and that is 5th edition. Now, 5th edition had a sheet, maybe two sheets, but at least one sheet of uncommons from 5th edition that has this kind of issue. And at a glance, it looks very similar to the other card that I just showed you, but this one has a white back. So in the case of the other card, you know, the only real difference is one side actually has nothing, and then in the case of the Mercadian Masques card, we actually do have a back. So instead of having, well, a front and a back on one side and a back on the other, this one just has a front and a back on one side. So as far as the logistics of the printing, it would have been slightly different. Now, when people see something like this, the first thing that they want to ask is, well, now it has a white back, so are you sure that this is something that is not an artist proof? Well, it is not an artist proof because I actually was able to track down some people who actually pulled these out of packs. And this is another card here. This is an Instill Energy. And the unfortunate thing is the people that I was able to track down that pulled these out of packs, they were very young and didn't really know any better, so they played with them. So this Instill Energy has some playware to it. So I can assure you that just because of what we're dealing with here, that this is not an artist-proof card. This is an actual mistake that was released in Magic the Gathering packs. So again, we are talking about 5th edition uncommons this time. So there are a few that are reasonably good still by today's standards, including Animate Dead, Hydroblast, stuff like that. There's a few cards that people still see as far as tournament play. Usually we're talking, you know, legacy and vintage, but still, and then of course there's EDH. But the thing is, as far as this is concerned, when it comes to the Mercadian Masques card, at least it has a Magic the Gathering back. And the good news with that is, on a good day, you might be able to convince a judge that you can play with that. And I have, and I seem to have better luck with sorceries and instants because you play with them and then they immediately go to your graveyard. They seem to be a little less lenient when it comes to stuff that's creatures. But this has a problem because of, well, like I said, artist proofs. The thing is, with the artist proofs, they actually had to kind of create something in their ruling that had to do with that. And it says that every card that you can play in a tournament has to have a standard Magic the Gathering back. And, well, you can kind of argue it's on this side, but this is not something that is tournament legal unless you find a judge that really doesn't know what they're talking about, because this has no standard Magic the Gathering back. This is something I cannot play with. This is a Phantom Monster, which, I mean, really isn't that great of a card, but I absolutely love it because I collect cards that quote Edgar Allan Poe, and this is the only card from 5th edition, at least in uncommon form, that ended up like this. So I have the one and possibly only Edgar Allan Poe card that got printed like that. So I just wanted to let you know that the cards that I was sharing with you as far as Mercadian Masques goes is there are cards from 5th edition that have the slight variance. The interesting thing is 5th edition is the largest Magic the Gathering set, so we have 121 different uncommons in that set, so we can be, you know, totally sure that we have at least 121 cards that got printed like that. And if it's two sheets, then it's twice that, you know, 242 cards. But you know, finding one of these is very difficult, and let alone finding a specific card that you want or the few that are actually playable is very difficult, and we don't know how many of these cards got thrown away. because the person I talked to, he had 9 that he pulled, 3 different packs with 3 uncommons, and he played with them. So at the very least, I saw those, and those 9 cards are played. And you know, the one card that I shared with you here, you know, I got it signed and altered because it was already screwed up, and I made sure that of the 9 cards that guy had, I wanted to get the Ron Spencer one because I think he's awesome. And so anyhow, I just wanted to tell you that yes, there are other things with other issues. I mean, like I showed you the Fallen Empire cards that have a front on one side and a front and a back on the other, and then we have the Mercadian Masques card with a front and a back on one side and a back on the other, and then, you know, we now get front and a back with nothing on the other. It's just kind of like, okay, yeah. So there are a handful of sets that have this kind of issue, and you know, they have obviously when this was printed, it must not have been flipped properly, and it just got incorrectly maneuvered somehow and then got printed over top. So anyway, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, as always, you feel free to get a hold of me. Otherwise, I will talk to you soon, so take care.